So Ruchi, you're on mute.
Strange. Sorry. So all mistakes I did are covered now. Thank you, Mahesh. So good evening, everyone. Welcome to BuildAthon 2024. I am Ruchi, and I would like you all to thank you all to take out this time in the evening and attend the virtual launch of BuildAthon 2024, which is the account aggregator-led hackathon of Sahamati. Now, Sahamati did a similar hackathon in 2020, which was a wild success. I say it was a wild success because there were uh, a huge number of participants. There were some really interesting nominations, really interesting submissions that came out. And there are some highly motivating success stories that have come out of the hackathon of 2020, some of which we'll get to hear through the next 2 hours as well. What we did in 2020 is what we wish to recreate in 2024 as well. We want to provide a platform to all you hackers and all of the technical talents in the country to create solutions for account aggregator, which incidentally is very different from what was in 2020. In 2024, as we speak, account aggregator as a DPI is the largest and the fastest growing open finance DPI in the world. Today, we are ahead of a lot of early adopters of open finance, some of the developed nations as well. We are way ahead of them in terms of adoption and implementation. And so, therefore, the innovations that come out of y'all in this hackathon are going to bring about paradigm shift to the way business is done, financial business is done in this country, and a paradigm shift to the way customers view their data. So, with that in mind, I would like you all to take utmost benefit of this buildathon. To enable you all to come up with the right innovations and solutions, we have planned a slew of panel discussions and masterclasses over the next 4 weeks. The schedule of that I will leave up to my colleague to share with you all at the end of this launch. I would request you all to, attend these masterclasses and panel discussions. And beyond that, if you need any help in literature, please reach out to us. People at Sahamati are highly accessible. You can also look out for anything to do with technical information and non-technical information on our website, which currently is the largest repository of account aggregator information in the country. With that, I think I'm not going to take too much of time. I wanted to talk about account aggregator, but we are a bunch of passionate individuals who just can't stop talking about account aggregator. So I will now, hand over the mic to Mr. BG Mahesh. He is the CEO of Sahamati. I would request him to launch this session and address all of you all.
So thank you, Ruchi. So welcome all of you to this virtual launch of our hackathon, which we have named it as Buildathon. So I think in every name we come up with, we somehow try to insert the double A, and it has been working out. So as you already heard, our first hackathon was in 2020, and it was a success, and I'm sure even now it will be a very big success. And our vision is extremely very, very simple, but very, very powerful. So until now, your data was being used to sell some service to you, but now, with the help of this very, very powerful DPI, the AA framework, the user is able to share all the information which is across many institutions, and they have control on the data. They're easily able to access, and they can selectively share actually the data with any institution to get access to a financial service which will actually benefit them. So mainly you are able to share your data by which you benefit. So here is a brief timeline. I know it's an extremely busy one of the account aggregator journey. The master directions was announced by RBI in September 2016, and in 2019 March, we had a roundtable of few institutions, And the outcome of that roundtable was, where they said there is a need to have an institution which would build this ecosystem. It is complex because it is across, four financial regulators, and that is how Sahamati was born. The launch of this ecosystem with 8 private banks happened in September 2021, and by July 22, all the public sector banks actually went live on AA. And as of today, as you can see, that we have cumulatively actually crossed a very important milestone of 100 million consents. Over 600 entities are on this ecosystem as FIPs and FIUs combined. About 15 operating AAs are there, and a special thank you to all the technology service providers, without whom I would say this ecosystem, it wouldn't have actually gone live. They have helped all the FIs to implement this framework. So it is like almost 3 years since it has actually gone live. And the important thing to say is, what is the impact, of the AA? Because now it's already a few years old. What everybody is asking us is, what is the impact? You have over 2 billion accounts which have the facility of using AA. So definitely it is the largest open finance ecosystem in the world. And about 43,000 crores of loans have been given out by the lenders. It's an extremely powerful one. Of course, we will see it actually growing exponentially over the year. And it is the TAT which has improved. The turnaround time has improved. The onboarding, underwriting, etc., is all happening inside 30 minutes. The other important use case, your PFM, which helps you to actually draw your your personal balance sheet, which I think is very important. Okay, we have seen over 10 million people are actually using this, and the cost of acquisition, for the investment advisors has actually come down a lot, and it is only 250 rupees. And now about 8% of the adult population in the country are already having access, to this framework. So, with that, I look forward to, all your submissions. I look forward to seeing what are the new use cases which are coming up. I would be very excited to see, what the participants come up in the field of security, privacy, I would say fair use. I mean, there are so many things which will come out, and I won't be surprised that the participants who are here today, like if they are to form a company, the output of this hackathon would be that you'll be able to form a company. So just on the lines of Finarkin, which was a winner in 2020, and now we see, they have formed a successful company. So again, yeah, welcome all of you, and now I wish you good luck in this hackathon. Bye.
Thank you so much, Mahesh. Thanks a lot. That was some important information for all of you all to know where did the account aggregator story start from and where are we today. Moving on now, I would like to play this keynote address by Dr. Pramod Varma. Personally, I feel very fortunate to be able to hear him, on a lot of occasions, not just today. Amongst all of y'all, people coming from technical background will be very, very familiar with Dr. Varma. But for everybody's sake, let me tell you, amongst a lot of things, he is the former chief architect of Aadhaar and UPI. He is also the co-author of the Beacon Protocol. He is the CTO of Step Foundation, and has, of course, very successful stories and implementations across a lot of a lot of implementations of the India stack. So without taking any further time, I would request the team to play the address by Dr. Pramod Varma.
पार्किंग से लेना है
Nevertheless, we got it. Hey everyone, if you look at India's digital transformation journey in the last 15 years, it's been spectacular, and it's very systematically, partly serendipity, but nevertheless, we got it, all the pieces of the puzzle in the system very well. And it started with the identity project. The fact that people in 2009, people did not have, most people did not even have bank account, and a portable ID in India created a lot of friction in joining formal systems, formal jobs, formal access to services and products. But it's about 6.5 years. Aadhaar project gave identity for everyone. And then subsequently, India went on to do, in 2014, we started designing. 2015, as part of Digital India project, we launched eSign, which allowed paperless form filling. And paper is a cost in the system. So removing paper where paper is not necessary, it's a good thing to do. And then subsequently did DigiLocker, roughly the same time. eSign and DigiLocker. And DigiLocker did very interesting thing. India, we ask for certificates and documents as supporting evidences in almost all the services. And these documents are physical, and that means it's there's no real way to authenticate it or authenticate the genuinity of the paper. So whether you are showing your work certificate or degree certificate, it gets very hard for the accepting party to know if it is genuine. And that creates additional cost, because most of the systems now collect the forms and collect the documents and have to do background verification to know all these things is true, and that adds to the cost. So DigiLocker was a means to remove that additional cost of simply knowing if the document is genuine. So DigiLocker created what's called digital credentialing, and that's the first time. Identity gave the power of ID back to the people, and DigiLocker gave the power of documents and credentialing, but back to the people. And so India did a very interesting user-centric approach to data, if you look at it. And that started as early as DigiLocker. And DigiLocker gave all the documents back that allowed us to submit. It's still early, and I think a lot of us think about it and says, you know what, lot more innovation can happen on DigiLocker, lot more workflows can be paperless. But hey, that's okay. We move at a pace, and it takes time, and it's okay. But what we did after DigiLocker was something many parts of the world, most of the world, had not done, and that is what we call data empowerment. So when we moved from identity to eSign to DigiLocker, then we went on to build UPI, which I don't have to talk to you about. All of you know it. It's a huge success that gave ability for everyone to transact money. But then in 2016, there was a seminal talk went on then talking about data democracy that allowed people to own their own data. And the argument was that India is digitizing systems really fast, and 1 billion people will have a lot more digital footprints in the system. And the argument was that Indians will be data rich before they are economically rich. And that's a very interesting argument. And there's no two ways to look at the data. Either data gets locked in to the large systems where people don't have much control, or Alternatively, data can be given back to the people as an economic asset. And that's very, very empowering thought. And that allows people to now make claims about their life, that whether if you're an SME, how much business do you do? How much payments transaction do you do? How invoices are you generating? All these are if paper and non-provable or non-verifiable. It really gets hard for anyone to make claims that I am so and so, I do a good job, and I deserve a loan, for example. Now, that's a real shift I think India did. India went on to do what's called an account aggregator network. And account aggregator network was the first manifestation of this data empowerment concept. And data empowerment concept, it was easier in one sense because of the advancements in the financial industry, previous banking automation, UPI and everything else that we did. It made it easier for the financial industry to move ahead and give the financial footprints back to the individual. And that's the idea of account aggregator. Account aggregator, Sahamati runs facilitated network. It's voluntary network today, and it is expected to be a self-regulatory organization sometime in the future. But nevertheless, a facilitative organization that facilitate account aggregator network to work really good. And the account aggregator network, the idea is that every individual or an SME can, once they sign up to a concerned manager, to get an account aggregator ID, like a payment ID of sort, then you are able to control your own digital footprints. What are the digital footprints? Bank statements, mutual fund statements, bill payment transactions, invoices. And today, account aggregator has, I think 600, 800 institutions joined in, including tax authorities. So GSTN has joined in to give back the GST invoices back to the businesses. So it's a very, very interesting and powerful concept that is still early, but nevertheless kicked in India. And this is legally, this is similar to what GDPR tried to do in Europe, giving back the data. But India is the only country that sort of put this architecture at scale in place. And a couple of important points to understand when it comes to account aggregator. Account aggregator is not a centralized system. That means there is no central database whatsoever that's collecting and keeping all your data. Your data stays where you transacted. So if you go into a bank and do transaction, of course, bank has a copy of your data because they have to maintain the ledger, and then you get a statement and so on. And if you are doing mutual fund transactions, or if you are doing insurance transaction with one of the insurance companies, the data stays with the insurance company and a copy come to you. So in the account aggregator, we imitated that architecture to say data should stay on the edges where the transaction occurred, but you as an individual or an SME should be able to unify that data, not centralize, unify that data in your hands, but in a manner that allows portability of that data. What does it mean? Today, if I download a bank statement in a CSV format and give a copy of that bank statement to a loan provider, lender, there is no way that lender can actually trust the data is not manipulated. The data is actually not played with. And that's because the data that is given back to you is not protected through any cryptographic technique. In account aggregator, it's different. In the account aggregator network, all the data that you are actually accessing and subsequently sharing with your consent is actually digitally signed and machine readable. So when it's cryptographically protected and digitally signed, the receiving party, let's say lender, is able to trust the authenticity of the data because it came from your bank with a digital signature that's intact. It allows portability of trust and portability of data. And that allows many, many more services to be unlocked independent of where the data resided. And this is very powerful. You have to remember, data is like money, data is like an asset. And if it is all over the place, these service providers who would like to look at your data and offer you services are unable to do so because there's no way to get to this data. And if you download some CSV file, it's not trustable. So Account Aggregator put in a decentralized architecture that allows an individual and an SME to harness this data, share this data with your consent, and the accepting party or a service provider who is going to use that data to provide a service or a product offering to you can now trust that data, process that data algorithmically because it's machine readable, lot more reduction of cost. Remember, no more, suddenly verification costs, processing costs are plummeted. And when that happens, the service provider now can offer near real-time sachetized products to a large population in India. And that's, I think a lot of us believe we have barely begun the journey towards what a data-driven products and service provisioning. And that's near real time to 1 billion people. That's exceptionally powerful imagination for us to be able to take the country towards. Because much of the, if you look at the India's pyramid, much of other than India 1, India 2 and India 3 find it extremely hard to get a formal product or services from a formal system like a banking and insurance industry. It ought to change. It must change to allow 5 million people, 800 million people to be able to get insurance, lending offers, and other financial, non-financial services based on who they are and what they do. And the only way to verify who they are and what they do, if it's paper, it gets very costly, and almost all the providers would say, it's too tough to give it to so many people. So converting that to machine-readable, digitally signed data streams in the hands of the people suddenly shifts the game. And this is why we are very excited to launch a hackathon for all the innovators in the country. A hackathon facilitated by Sahamati across the Account Aggregator network through a sandbox APIs available on the sandbox for you to be able to imagine the possibility of what a data stream of who you are and what you do can change in terms of provisioning products and services. So I invite all of you to leverage that opportunity and imagine for India. Imagine how does 600 million people, 800 million people access it? What does it mean to form filling? That itself is not easy. Can you combine Varshney, Indic language AI, and Account Aggregator API, and maybe with UPI mandate and vouchers, DigiLocker combined, to be able to completely reimagine possibilities. Now, this is not production. It's a sandbox and hackathon. So there's no reason why you can't imagine like crazy. And I invite all of you to join the hackathon, really explore the possibilities, and show to India and show to the world that an architecture like this allows a really large population to meet their aspirations of access in the country. And innovators like you must step up and join the hackathon. And this is going beyond India, so that you know. India is the starting point for this. Many other countries are starting to put together similar architecture that allows individual-centric data empowerment. And that means your product, the product you are innovating or you are imagining, could be global. It could be much beyond India. And that's opportunity. All the best.
Oh, that was indeed extremely inspiring, and so many ideas came out of that 14-minute address by Dr. Varma. I'm sure the thinking hats have are now going to work on an overdrive to come up with some excellent solutions and innovations around the three themes of this hackathon. Let us now go ahead and listen to Siddharth Shetty. He is the CTO of Sahamati. He will share with you all the data empowerment vision of Sahamati, the data empowerment vision of Sahamati. Thank you, Siddharth. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Ruchi, and I'm genuinely so excited to see this hackathon come together. It's been a few years we engaged back with the developer ecosystem, and the work that both the team has done as well as the broader ecosystem of AAs, FIPs, FIUs, and all of you to make this happen. It's going to be a very, very exciting 3 weeks ahead of us. Just seeing the different kind of prototypes and hacks, and some of them eventually becoming much more, formal companies within the ecosystem. So the idea behind my session is to give you a quick overview of the technical aspects behind Account Aggregator and how it works and the flows. Share with you a bit of details behind Sahamati Net, which is the primary sandbox you would be building on top of. So what are some of the ideas you can build on top of there? And then hopefully that should address a broad, high-level view of what things are. But if you have specific questions, there are multiple support channels. Abhishek can share that with you. I see a few in the chat as well. So please feel free to reach out. Now, as you heard from Pramod as well as Mahesh earlier in today's session, the world we currently live in is one where your data as an individual or as a business, you should imagine both, different types of legal persons, organizations, nonprofits, for-profits, enterprises, or individuals, all of us, is held within the custodian system. And therefore, when you want to get that data out and use it in your benefit, for example, you want to share it with someone else, you want to analyze it, you want to aggregate it, it's very costly, it's difficult to verify, so on and so forth. A lot of the problems that were shared before. So the core idea behind the account aggregator framework, which was laid out along with the leadership of the financial sector regulators, RBI, SEBI, PFRDA, and IRDA, was coming up with a framework where individuals and businesses could be given control of their data. At this point in time, it is control of transactional data that is generated with any bank, mutual fund, insurer, tax authority. So every time you do a transaction, that data is showing up within the bank account, for example. Now, how do you share that data in a safe, secure manner from your bank account with, let's say, a personal finance management app or a investment advisory app, so on and so forth? So that's where account aggregators come in as consent managers. You can, using them, discover where all your data resides, completely federated use of identity. Data is always decentralized within this system. So when you discover your accounts, you can then link those accounts between the bank and your respective account aggregator. And once you've linked it, you can then raise a consent to share your data for a particular purpose. And then in real time, that data is shared via the account aggregator with the corresponding entities on the right. So that's really the broad flow. And account aggregators create different front-end experiences, again, for individuals, businesses, self-service modes, assisted modes. They innovate a lot on the user experience that is put out. So broadly, in terms of what are the different use cases and why are people transacting within this system? One, of course, it benefits individuals because now all of us have complete agency and control over any transactional data that we have within the financial sector to start with. Two, you're getting data straight from source. And because it's digitally signed, any third party can verify it for the authenticity and integrity. And therefore, you know that data is not manipulated, unlike a PDF or, in today's world with AI, I can create deep fakes of any bank statement that I want. But in this case, because it's coming from source and it's signed, you can trust in the authenticity using cryptographic primitives. The third aspect, which is particularly important, is how do you unify across these diverse systems, diverse sectors, diverse institutions? That's what the AA ecosystem through Sahamati facilitates, an interoperable way with which you can create a unified common experience for the end user. Now, because it's unified, you can now build various layers of personalization on top. And we're really excited to see, using the latest advances in AI and generative AI, the types of AI-enabled experiences you can create, whether it's in terms of more inclusive user experiences, translating this to voice and other forms of multimedia to make it more accessible, or even a bit more on the back-end side with underwriting and other types of predictions. The other key aspect behind the ecosystem is the fact that consent is explicit and informed. And so we've really taken the legal principle of consent, but created a tool that everyone can actually use, with which they can exercise consent in an informed manner. Obviously, this does democratize access a lot more, and those are the numbers that you're seeing in terms of now over 100 million people having accessed and used the system in different shapes and forms. And then, of course, it has the ability to create new types of financial products, whether that's lending products, advisory products, risk assessment products, collection monitoring products, all of which benefit financial institutions, but also expand the market and thus benefit financial inclusion. And so this is really a summary of the different types of use cases and the why behind what's driving a lot of the adoption within the ecosystem. Now, over the last 4 years, since we did the last hackathon, one of the key developments has been Sahamati creating infrastructure to further support, further accelerate advancements in the ecosystem, along with FIPs, FIUs, and AAs. And that's where Sahamati Net comes in. That's a sandbox that you now have the ability to access and build all of your hacks on top. And the core idea behind it is very simple. Think of Sahamati Net as being a basic router that allows you to, in a common manner, route requests between different. Imagine you're an entity that's accessing data, then you can use Sahamati Net to route requests to any account aggregator. If you're an account aggregator, you can use Sahamati Net to route requests to any FIP. So you therefore have a common service with which you can interact with any entity rather than having to do that bilaterally. The second important part behind Sahamati Net is you now have a common source of truth. And so as the ecosystem matured, it became extremely important that there was a common source of truth, so that you had observability to understand what is happening in this very decentralized ecosystem. What are the performance rates? What are the health rates? How are the different types of disputes being handled? How do you implement other types of observability and billing on top of this? So Sahamati Net really seek to address the interoperability questions, but also the questions around creating a common source of truth. And this sandbox will play a key role for a lot of the hacks that you're going to build on top of the hackathon. Within the sandbox, we have a bunch of simulators. So you can simulate an FIP, simulate an AA, simulate an FIU, different types of simulated data that either you yourself can introduce or you can make use of. The sandbox is being seeded with the whole range of financial information that's there. So it's very flexible, it's very extensible, and I'll urge you to take a look at it. The sandbox is an early version, so another reason we're putting it out there is also to get a lot of feedback from all of you on how can we improve it, and then go ahead and actually bring this to life. And so there are a whole range of use cases you can start to build. There are different tracks that have been outlined. So I definitely urge you to take a look at use cases that democratize access, not just from a lending standpoint, but also from the lens of investment advisory, from the lens of insurance products, new types of claims management workflows. One of the interesting things, I was looking at the chat, one of you brought up as well, is really thinking through extensions on top of Sahamati Net, where you could imagine a flow of not just transactional data, but also verifiable credentials, which is imagine different types of certificates and other kinds of data, which doesn't change. Your banking data changes on a higher frequency than, let's say, your educational certificate. Could you create a layer on top of Sahamati Net that allows you to fetch credentials attestations, and underlying transactional data that you can then feed to a whole range of other use cases. People can build different types of workflows, nomination workflows, other types of delegation workflows, inheritance workflows. On top of this, you could use this for enhancing public service delivery through targeted welfare delivery schemes. And another track I'm particularly excited about is also on the use of different privacy enhancing technologies. So the use of different types of zero knowledge proofs that you can build as a layer above, the use of multi-party computation and confidential computing, which will really, in the future, if we take a view 5 to 10 years out, will change the paradigm with which data is shared, where instead of it always being sent to the source, you can now send it to a trusted environment and only take those insights and give it out. So we're really keen to see a whole range of both technical as well as business use cases that you'll build on top, because our main goal is to ensure that every Indian has a personal balance sheet and they are able to put that balance sheet together, their assets, liabilities, and all the other attestations that are there in their daily lives. And then fintechs and developers can actually build on top of that balance sheet to create all the financial products that we want that expand inclusion. And so since this framework has also been a key part of the Data Protection Act that was passed by the government, and if you take a look at the act, it talks about the idea of consent managers. Account aggregators are nothing but consent managers. So I'd definitely urge you to look at it from a broader scope. So one is the financial lens, but then under the act, can you look at it from a broader lens and combine these different other types of sectors? Again, since this is a sandbox environment, your imagination is your only limit, and that gives you the freedom to look at it much more broadly. And the last point I would touch upon is what we've seen as we've been working with ecosystems across the world in emerging economies, developing economies, advanced economies. Really, the infrastructure that's been creating here, as well as the ecosystem that's being built here, is cutting edge. And so we're really excited to see what all of you build. And we deeply believe if you start to build on top of this infrastructure, you have the ability to not just take this across India, but also take this to other countries across the world and solve problems at a global scale for many other markets where they may not have the capacity, but they need similar such solutions. So we definitely urge you to take a look at it from that lens as well. So thank you so much. And if any of you have any questions, again, please do reach out to the multiple support channels that are there, and looking forward to what you guys build over the next few weeks.
Thank you, Siddharth. Siddharth, are we willing to take a couple of questions if there are any right now?
We can actually do that for sure.
So if anyone has any question, they can probably type it in the Q&A section, and we can take it up right now. All right. I think then we'll just wait for the end of the session. Yeah, there are some responses that have. Okay. There is Purneshwar Prasad asking, will there be any demo of any use cases developed on top of Sahamati Net?
Should I answer?
Yes, yes, Siddharth. So basically, I understand what Purneshwar means is, will there be any example demonstration for them to help? If I'm correct, that is what they're trying to ask. That's what he's trying to ask. Yes, he says yes.
Yeah, there will be, we do have a masterclass on Sahamati Net as well, which will give an end-to-end demo of how it works. And in fact, quite a few of you that build hacks on top of Sahamati Net, if we have good user experiences that are shown through that, we'll actually feature those on the developer website as key demos that people can take a look at.
So if there are any specific questions to Siddharth's session right now, we'll take up. All the other questions we'll take up at the end of the session. Okay.
On the question of historical data, you can seed the historical data that you want depending on the financial information type.
Okay. So there is one question on, will alternative data models be scope of AA, or is the focus on CRED's bank account info? alternative data models be the scope of AA is what. So I'm assuming this person is trying to ask if alternative data models can be used to create can be used in the hackathon to create your prototypes. Is that what you're trying to ask? I'm not sure. Okay, I'll move on to the next one. What would be a good middleware to build? Siddharth, do we have an answer to that, or how do we?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there are like so many different types of middleware, which are nothing but fundamentally technology solutions that I would say are mostly B2B. So you could look at, for example, data governance middleware. So given a consent artifact and a consent request, how do you ensure data is used in accordance with terms of that request? And one can go very deep, but that is a area and category of one type of middleware. The second type of middleware I could imagine is in the area of predictions. So people building different types of analytic tools, which could then be used for underwriting, monitoring, collection, triaging, personalization of a whole range of use cases. So I would say that's the second type of middleware. The third type of middleware would be in the area of developer tooling. So people can build, no-code solutions that allow you to actually prototype and take things to production a lot faster and make it much easier for the financial institutions, FIUs, As, and FIPs to actually build out the end user experiences. And the fourth type, I would say that fits a bit more in the first type, but the fourth type is very specific privacy tech solutions, which I spoke about on the multi-party computation, confidential computing side. So there's a whole range of middleware that people can actually think about and build. And I would say there are likely to be many more categories beyond just this. So don't restrict yourself to this, but these are a few indicative ones that you can think about.
All right. I think the team has also mentioned the WhatsApp group, which all of y'all developers can join. I think we can take a lot more questions there. For the paucity of time, let us conclude with Siddharth's session here. Thank you very much, Siddharth. I'm sure there'll be a lot more technical queries and questions that will keep coming to you. Okay. Yeah. So moving on, at the beginning of the session, I mentioned about some very motivating success stories that came out of the last hackathon. And we would really like to, give you a flavor of where this hackathon and where this can actually take you by inviting the winners of our last hackathon, Finarkin Analytics. Finarkin was born out of, guys at Finarkin, please correct me if I am wrong, but they were born out of the last hackathon. And today, in the last 3-4 years that, even I have been observing and watching them, the growth has been phenomenal, exponential, and something that all of us are proud of. So without much ado, I would like to request the Finarkin team to come on stage and share your success story and share your challenges as well with this team. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I hope I am audible. So unfortunately, we are on the road, but that's the peril of making it, I guess, right? So I'm Nikhil, one of the co-founders here at Finarkin. With me, I have Akash.
Hi guys.
He's also been with us, and so we were part of the A fairly early on, and I remember participating, in the hackathon.
Ruchi, is it?
Which has become our business, has been inspired by actually a problem statement from the previous hackathon. So absolutely, I think the hackathon is a great platform. It gave us the right boost, the right momentum, the right visibility, and we were able to take a product, a hack, and convert it into a company I would love to extend my wishes to everybody participating in the hackathon. And if you really enjoy the domain and the problem statements, please reach out. We would love to have hackers on board, joining Team Finarkin, and really scaling out the ideas you guys have, and executing on them.
Yeah, I'll just like to add a few bits, right? So when we participated in the hackathon way back in 2020, everything was very, very new. The whole ecosystem, Sahamati, account aggregator, the concept itself was very new compared to where we are today. So it was very interesting to work on something that was not available before that, and the ideas that can come up through it. I mean, there was no limit to it. You can build anything, you could think of anything that is possible, and everyone was brainstorming. And I think that's where we built something which definitely helped us win the hackathon. But not only that, we also found a sticky business idea through it, which has helped us grow over the period now and create a stable business. Uh, I think account aggregator as an ecosystem, like Siddharth, Mahesh previously talked about, we are just scratching the surface. Even after 4 years now, even after we are seeing some good momentum, it is barely touching lives of selective people in India. And the next set of innovation will help address challenges, which will help us grow much beyond what we are serving today. Right? Everyone is building for the affluent, the middle of the pyramid, but the way we can utilize account aggregator ecosystem and bundle it with other IndaStack products outside of it can help us build use cases which will touch almost 1 billion users in India. And I think that's where you guys, what you build out of it, obviously we will try to think from a business point of view as well. But if you can come up with ideas which are more social in nature, which can help address some ground level problems, I think that will be a much better output of this hackathon.
Yeah, so definitely, the theme should be, this can be a positive sum ecosystem. I think that has been what has worked for Team Finarkin, going from Team Finarkin to Finarkin Analytics Private Limited. I think the journey has been phenomenal, and what has gotten us through so far has been that we have always been of the opinion that this is a positive sum ecosystem. We have to think of really expanding the boundaries with respect to what's possible. And usually this is an opportunity we do not get all the time. So think of it that way. It's an opportunity of a lifetime where you're at the right place at the right time, hopefully with the right folks in your team. And wish you guys all the very best, and hope to see a phenomenal response to the hackathon, and see you on the other side.
Some great ideas coming in, I hope.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks a lot, Nikhil. Thank you very much, Akash. And yes, thanks for the advice and motivating words. We hope you grow from strength to strength as well. And we hope a lot more like Team Finarkin comes out of this hackathon, BuildAAthon 2024. So thanks a lot. Thank you very much. Moving on, guys, let's hear from Shalini. Shalini is the head of policy and strategy in Sahamati, and she will be throwing some light and giving us a good dope on how account aggregators, the cornerstone of open finance in the world, and what are the current trends that are going on and what are the future evolutions that are expected. Shalini does a lot of research work in our company, and also has her hands dipped in all intelligence that comes out of Sahamati. So over to you, Shalini.
Yeah. Thanks, Ruchi. I'm really excited to today be a part of this group. Together, we're looking for ideas that can push the use case for account aggregator and the data framework beyond just what we are witnessing today. So what we are witnessing, according to me, is just the tip of the berg, and we'll have a lot more hidden below, and we'll need innovators like you to come and unearth it for us. So what I'll do is I'll just show a presentation. It is a short presentation. Some of it has already been covered in the sessions, but I'll just try to kind of add a few more bits. I'll keep it short. And then we can get into the question answer round. after this. We just put the presentation. Yeah, is my presentation visible?
Yes, you'll have to move to the slideshow.
Thank you. So before we get into, the possibilities that we are seeing coming across, emerging from the account aggregator framework in its current form, we need to remember that it's a highly regulated framework as of now. But even within that regulated framework, we are seeing possibilities emerging which we've never even thought of like a few months back. So every week we see a new use case coming up. And the idea for this hackathon is to say that if we remove the constraint of, let's say, what kind of data is available on A, or what use cases can account aggregator be deployed for, then what are the possibilities, right? Because what we are expecting is a lot of ideation and prototypes coming from this team. And if some of them are really, at scale, solving some of the big challenges which are there for our country, or some of the opportunities that we need to tap as a country to actually be amongst the top three, economies of the world in the next 5 years. If we have some of those data coming in, I'm sure we can definitely, then Team Sahamati and the account aggregator ecosystem can also push the boundaries further, work along with the policymakers, regulators, see if some of those ideas are implementable, and at least start that dialogue in the ecosystem that, there is a lot of merit in kind of expanding the usage of this framework, which has already proven its worth in the financial sector. So as we get into this, this is a slide which is just summarizing, and for, the people who are really keen to know about the account aggregator framework. So data was available even in the pre-account aggregator era. There were multiple channels via which the customers used to share their data with the financial institutions. So what is account aggregator doing, and how is it superior to other channels? So we'll just want you to reflect on this slide. And if you look at different parameters, which ranges from data recency, the reliability, data privacy, customer convenience, the turnaround time, everywhere account aggregator data is superior to what we have in the form of scanned documents, digital PDF uploads, or the channel of net banking access. So what you're seeing is something which is reforming the way customers are sharing their digital footprints with the financial institutions. And that is expected to reform the way, financial lending or other products are being offered to the customers as we move forward. One or two highlighting factors from here is that the data which you're getting from account aggregators from the source and be fraud free. So that is one big advantage, especially for segments which rely on underwriting and assessing the risk of the customer. And another feature which is unique to account aggregator is a recurring data access, right? So the customer can give a recurring consent for accessing their data for various use cases, which could be like personal finance management, financial, the budgeting, investment advisory, even for monitoring their accounts post dispersal of lending. So this combined with, the 100% authenticity of data and it being real-time consented in a machine readable form places account aggregator channel as a far better kind of usability for the financial institutions, and convenience and ease for the customers. I'll also talk about we keep talking about the account aggregator ecosystem, but we wanted to kind of give you a sense of the size of the account aggregator framework. So today, the account aggregator framework is already 600 plus participants, which 483 FIUs, 163 information providers, which are cross-sectoral. On an average month, we are seeing monthly consents of 8.84, so 8 to 9 million monthly successful consents. And we just crossed 100 million cumulative successful consents that have been given on the framework. Basis these consent, the expected data shares are expected to be in the range of 80 to 90 million per month. So that's already huge. And if we were to do some estimate on the number of customers or the adult population who've already used account aggregator framework, it is in the range of 80 to 90 million, which basically means that almost 8 to 9% of the Indian adult population have already used account aggregator in some form or fashion. What we need now is that, today the way account customers are accessing account aggregator is as a part of, FIU journeys, B2B journeys. They use it once, but they don't recall. So how do you create that recall? How do you create that awareness around consent management? How do you make it an explicit action for the customer so that they kind of they take control of their data? So there are a lot of things. And how does it become as pervasive as a UPI today, right? Every time you walk into a bank or you walk to a lender, you walk to a broker, wherever you need to share data, you easily should be able to take out your phone from your pocket and say, I'll use account aggregator to share my data. Is it available with you as a facility? So that is the vision we need to work for. Right now, it is very, FIU specific. The customer doesn't even know at times that they've used the AA framework. So how do you bridge that gap between, a good to have facility to making it universal and available to every individual in the country, and for them to start treating it as almost like a equivalent of payments for data, where they really don't need to worry about collecting their documents or for any financial product application. In this context, we'll also like to say that, in fact, the initial, penetration has all been in, and it is expected and but natural to happen in the digitally savvy segments, unsecured personal loans, where, there is already a straight through process journey applied. But the next level of expansion and the real, test of the framework will come when it reaches to the masses who are either not digitally savvy or they are not financially that savvy to kind of handle their financials. Or so how do you build journeys which ensure that these customers are also able to use account aggregator with equal ease and equal security, equal comfort? All those kind of experiences are also which we are expecting, some of them to come from this hackathon, and we really look forward to, some path breaking, even though they may be small solutions. But how do you reach out to the segment which we really aspire to reach out to? So in terms of the information coverage, account aggregator framework, India as a country has 350 crore financial accounts. We've already reached a penetration of 60%, which means 60% of these accounts are today available on account aggregator. And the coverage is quite good on, deposits, even demat securities is completely available. GST data is available. The entire mutual fund portfolio is available. So basically, in a way, the supply side is largely taken care of. So you've got a huge playground where you can kind of build your solutions, which are already available. But what we want to kind of convey is, let's not limit ourselves to what is there on A. So we are open to solutions which are either in combination with data on A, or alternate data, or newer sources of data which can add value to either a financial use case or a non-financial use case. Any kind of possibility that you could think of using the framework is, we'll be very happy to see all those ideas coming in. So these are the financial information types which are already available on the ecosystem. Already 16 FI types, financial information types, are available, just to kind of give you a sense of the scope. And the way we are looking at the expansion of financial information type, already 16 are live. Within those 16 also, there is a need to expand the data schemas or the kind of data that is available for a few of them. So we are expecting that GST and data scope will increase. We may have more data available in the mutual fund schema. But more than that, phase 2 expansion is where we really see the joint accounts and non-sole proprietor current accounts being activated on AA. We're already in discussion with CBDT, EPFO, post office deposits, payment wallets, banks, credit cards. So any kind of, ideas and hacking ideas that you can, some solutions that we can develop on these data types are also welcome. And as we move forward, phase 3, once the DPDP Act, the rules for DPDP Act comes in, the idea of consent manager has already been ingrained in the DPDP Act, and we're looking at building solutions where we can have interoperable consent managers across sectors. So it could be account aggregator, it could be an account aggregator like entity, a consent manager, which is working in some other sector. But how do you ensure that all of them, if they operate in an interoperable manner, how are we expecting them to address some of the challenges which individuals and enterprises face in their day-to-day lives, businesses, and other situations. I'll just play a testimonial from a customer, and which clearly demonstrates the kind of impact account aggregator has on the lives of the common man in India. It's not playing.
जब मैं फर्स्ट टाइम अप्लाई किया था तो मेरा नंबर जो है दिक्कत था, तो मैंने स्टेटमेंट बैंक से निकलवा के दे दिया था। उसके बाद सेकंड टाइम में फिर नंबर भैया वाला अपडेट करवाया, तो फिर अगली बार मैंने एग्रीगेटर से अप्लाई किया था तो हो गया था। एग्रीगेटर दिए, ऑटोमेटिक ओटीपी आया, सक्सेसफुल दिखाया, तो इन्होंने कहा हो गया तुम्हारा अप्लाई।
आपने जो डाउनलोड करके भेजा था पहली बार, फर्स्ट टाइम, उसमें कितना वक्त लगा?
उसमें तो सर बैंक जाना पड़ गया था। बैंक जाना पड़ गया था, उसमें भी 180 चार्जेस लिया बैंक ने, तब मेरा 180 चार्जेस लिया, तब स्टेटमेंट दिया मेरे।
तो आपको एग्रीगेटर में कितना वक्त लगा अपना?
1 मिनट,
1 मिनट से?
1 मिनट मुश्किल से। हाँ 1 मिनट में एग्रीगेटर सक्सेसफुल हो जाता है, लोडिंग हुआ, और उसके बाद बोला तुम जाओ, तुम जब वीडियो केवाईसी कराना हो तो यहाँ आ जाना। वहाँ मैं विजिट किया, फिर उसके बाद हो गया। तो बोला इतना लेना है आपको? मैं बोला हाँ जी मेरे को जरूरत है, हम तो ले लेंगे। तो फिर इतना फिर अप्रूवल आया, फिर उसके बाद भैया मेरे को फ़ोन किया, फिर मैंने जगह पे यहाँ पे जैसे यहाँ लगा रखे हैं वैसे वहाँ पे थे, तो विजिट किया वहाँ पे, तो उन्होंने मेरा केवाईसी वगैरह किया। फिर 24 आवर में मेरा खाते में उतना अमाउंट आ गया था, GST वेस्टी काट के, हाँ जो चार्ज था उतना काट के आ गया।
So this was just a testimonial from a customer whom, how has account aggregator made a big impact on their lives, right? They don't end up spending time visiting a branch to get their passbook updated or give money to the bank to print their bank statements, and how in terms of their livelihood, and how does it really kind of save time for them, right? People, daily wage earners cannot afford to do multiple visits to branches. So I'll just skip through. So I'll not take a lot of time here because we've covered some part of it in the previous slides. But the way account aggregator is shaping up, and some of this is already evident on the ground, is improved customer experience, where the application processes have become simplified. You don't really need to carry your bag of papers or a file of papers to the bank to get a loan. The approval process has become digitized because what you're getting is in a machine readable form. One important thing which I like to highlight and is important is that finance is now available at the point of sales and transaction because of account aggregator. Earlier, because there is a lot of paperwork, the customer was expected to visit the branch and submit their papers, get them verified and all of that. But today, if you're on, either as a MSME, if you're purchasing something from a wholesaler and invoice is generated, you can very well, get a loan against that invoice on a real-time basis. So it is really the final push for the customers to get finance where they actually need it, and when they actually need it, and for what they need it. Instead of, saying that you just need to have an option available in the form of a secured credit line, which you'll need to mortgage either your property or your gold or your insurance, and you'll have to take amount which we are giving you, and then you'll need to keep using that amount as per your requirement, but you end up paying interest for the entire amount and the entire tenure. So, a lot of those things will change for the customer. Several new product options have emerged, like personal finance management, which was never heard of earlier. In fact, whatever was available was based on SMS parsing. But what you have today is a capability to have a 360-degree view of your finances. And that for us is the starting point for any kind of, management of wealth. So the idea, so when Siddharth talked about balance sheet for every Indian, the idea is to say that even if a customer has 1,000 or 10,000 rupees wealth, it is their wealth and they have all, the right to grow that wealth and, earn more than the inflation adjusted rate of return. And likewise, we are seeing expansion of financial services to new to credit customers. A lot of banks have reported an expansion in their portfolio to new to credit customer based on their banking data. MSME cash flow based lending is expected to pick up. We are seeing a lot of new lending models emerging for blue collar workers. In due course, we like to see similar models emerging for street vendors, farmers, all segments which find it difficult today to get loan from the formal financial sector. And for the enterprises, it all started with a simple operational efficiency. The onboarding became automated and the underwriting became very smooth and fraud-free. Paperless processes could be built. But as we move forward, we are seeing a lot of new use cases emerging. For example, a lot of lenders have started using easier processes for customers who are willing to share data via AI. So there are green channel kind of products that are emerging. Lenders and even insurers are cross-validating multi-source data to estimate the eligibility of a customer and to ensure that fraud rates are low. We also see a lot of new use cases emerging around monitoring fraud and risk within organizations. Early warning signals are getting more sophisticated and more so after RBI came out with a circular that the warning signals have to become more detailed and in-depth. Collection strategies have become very targeted based on whatever signals you get from the models. And hence, there are a host of others. We've already touched upon them, like nomination management. For example, can there be a dashboard provided to the customer where they can view all their nominations across financial products and easily manage them and, reach out to the financial institutions, date correct the entries? And similarly, can it be used for monitoring government schemes and all of that? So just coming to the final three themes, opportunity, the first theme which we have is financial services for billion Indians. And here we're looking for something which is just beyond credit. Saying, can we improve, the penetration of insurance and investments in our country? Because the actual definition of financial inclusion is not just credit inclusion. It is an overall well-being of the customer, ability to borrow when they need, adequately insured, ability to grow and preserve their wealth, and ability to plan their retirement. So only when we are able to meet all of those requirements for our customers or our citizens is when we can call ourselves a financially included society. The second theme is data empowerment beyond finance, and this we have already discussed. We just don't want the teams to limit themselves to the data which is available on account aggregator. We are open to ideas using a combination of data, financial data, non-financial data, only financial data, anything and everything which is a possibility which will solve, is an opportunity for India as a country. We'll want this to come up in the hackathon. And finally, this is something which is really interesting because of a lot of digitization and cyber security risk, the mule accounts becoming such a big problem. We are definitely looking for a lot of risk management solutions which are based on account aggregator data. So because there are now cross-sectoral flows like payments, data will also flow cross-sectorally. Can there be AI modules deployed on the flows? Can there be signals that the entire network can read if there is a fraudulent, application being processed? On the other end, how do you strengthen the account aggregator framework itself? Given that it's a digital framework, it needs to be completely secure and safe for the entire country to be able to use it. So this is where we're looking for a lot of risk management solutions for the industry. And I'll just end the session here. I don't know, have I overshoot short my time, but any questions we'll be happy to take. Over to you, Ruchi. I'll stop sharing.
Thank you, Shalini. Thanks a lot. At this point in time, I don't see any questions. Anybody wants to post anything? Can
So we have responded to the questions, and
team is
I'll
responding
request.
to the questions. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, Shalini, at this point in time, there are no open questions.
Sure.
I'm sure there'll be many more that will come.
Yeah.
As people dig deeper and try to understand the concept and try to understand the opportunities that are available for them to build on. So that was really helpful. I hope you all got enough information and on what is account aggregator, how far it has reached, and also on what can you possibly do, how can you possibly, what are the solutions that are expected out of this hackathon. So thanks a lot. Moving on, I would like to play a testimony by Fold. Now, Fold Money, which is the company, and they are right now active on Account Aggregator. What I understand and how I would like to describe them is an AA first, investment advisory company, which means that largely most part of the product is built on data that is coming from Account Aggregator. Now, as you hear them, you will realize that they are the collateral beneficiaries of account aggregator. Just like how we have the word collateral damage, there are collateral beneficiaries. What I understand is Fold was helping with the hackathon of 2020, and that's when they got familiarized with the concept of account aggregator. And as they dug deeper, they realized that they can build something out of it. And here we are 3 years down the line. They are they are also going from strength to strength and building some excellent solutions from the data that they receive from account aggregator. So I would request the team to play the video from Akash Nimare, who is the co-founder at Fold.
Hi, I'm Akash, co-founder of Fold. We are building tools for personal finance, and everything is powered using account aggregator. So it's been a journey. We have waited for almost like 5 years. 2019 was the first time that we got to know about account aggregator. During that time, we were building Dayfolio. We met with Siddharth, and Siddharth showcased the powerful application that can be built on top of account aggregator. And this is where we decided to do a hackathon, and we did the first AA hackathon back in 2020. We wanted to bring more people to the ecosystem and wanted to bring the awareness. And that was the first time that we were exposed to the all the A's, all the sandbox, and this is where we first saw the data that that was coming from account aggregator. But that was a pivotal moment in our journey. And after that, we applied for the FIU license. Luckily, during the hackathon, we got to know about what is FIU, what is FIP, and all the terminology that exists in the ecosystem. And we applied for the FIU license. That took us some month, but we were one of the first FIU to go live on this framework after like just 2 years. But it's great to see all the progress that account aggregator has made in last 3-4 years, and what application it has enabled for us to build. As a builder, we wanted to build something on top of privacy, and which is the core of account aggregator. And I'm sure there's going to be like a plenty of solution that will be built on top of A in next few years. But I wanted to discuss the future application or the innovative solution that can be built using this framework. We were thinking about the thing that will be possible, like robo advisory or social investment platform. For example, you can create a feed where you can follow your friends and you can see whatever they are buying or selling. That because a lot of decision especially in the young people is driven by the signals. So I'm sure there's lot of different use cases will be built. But one of the interesting very rare use case which we see will be possible is something like, you know, login with Fold, where you can share your data with probably anybody, any business, or, you know, if you're applying for a visa, you can just do a quick OTP, and then you can select whatever the data that you want to share, and then, you know, you can delete the consent once you get the data. So I'm sure this, what UPI did with the payment, the account aggregator is going to do with the, you know, financial data. And if you remember, like back in 2015, we were very comfortable about doing payment with IMPS, net banking. We didn't know that we needed UPI, you know, but we believe like the same thing is going to happen with, you know, whatever the tools will be built on top of AA. One interesting use case that can be built is something like getting the details of nominee. You know, it's very rare use case, but, you know, we have faced, you know, especially during the COVID time, you know, if someone passed away, you know, imagine a family who is already in grief, and, you know, they're not able to get access to the nominee details, or, you know, how many bank accounts or demat accounts. So I was checking the facts that 80,000 crores of assets each year is unclaimed because the data is not there, the you know, the awareness is not there. So I think use cases will be built on top of AA, and I'm sure it's just the beginning. Using the hackathon, AA hackathon, I'm sure it is going to bring new people to the ecosystem. It is going to inspire so many young builders to innovate and build tools on top of privacy. I mean, one of the pain point we see in financial services is most of the apps out there is not personal. They are serving like absolutely, they have like one size fit all approach. But after AA, after the data, you can personalize experiences using the data and the insights of user, and then you can offer exactly what user is needing, instead of, you know, bombarding user with so many offers, so many solutions. For example, if someone is joining a gym, or you know, joining a gym, you can recommend that nutrition or, you know, protein offers. So I'm sure there's a lot of personalization will be done in financial services, which is obviously going to improve the life of people, and it is only going to be helpful in long run.
Okay, we've had some interesting comments here. Somebody mentioned that they are here because of Fold. That's really good to hear, because you know, like we heard the story, they were also in a way born out of the hackathon of 2020, and they're also another success story of Account Aggregator. So that was truly inspiring, and I hope you all have your takeaways from there. We're now moving towards actually the details of the hackathon. I would like to ask my colleague Abhishek to run you through what is the next 4 weeks going to be, and what is the expectation out of this hackathon, and all other details and all the other sundry details of the hackathon. You may keep posting your questions around this, and also please, before it goes out of my mind, please join the WhatsApp group. The link has been given by the team in the chat box. Please join the WhatsApp group for immediate responses to your queries. Over to you, Abhishek.
Yeah. Thank you, Ruchi. I'm very excited seeing 600 people registering for the hackathon, and we are still left with 20 days. We'll see more people coming, joining, and I will be there with you guys for during the month in terms of any support required, in terms of tech, product, or any guidance. So just to I'll take not much of time because I understand this is a Friday evening, but a brief on what we plan to do and what is the how 1 month looks like. To start with, what's the aim of BuildAthon, the hackathon which we are doing is, so DPIs are the basic building blocks, and how it was designed was that so that market innovation can actually take over and build products on top of it, and hence nothing less than having a hackathon which can promote, push boundaries, and get innovation out of it. And the other motive for us was to introduce Sahamati for the developer community and build a cohesive and a stronger developer community. Uh, Teams who are here and who want to participate, who have not registered, can use the link, which I think Aniket can share in the chat. And otherwise, I will share this PPT on the which will be available on our website, which you can refer. We are inviting all builders, entrepreneurs, fintech companies, developers, and tech providers. Anyone who want to build on account aggregator who can become a part of it on an individual capacity or maybe a organization. So there are three broad themes which we have kept open so that we don't give direction to people to build on. But as Shalini spoke about how with the current state of the country where there is a huge opportunity in terms of insurance and investment in advisory, we want people to build on products which can bring operational efficiency and product innovation. We understand that the country is spread across with a huge geography and have a different demographics. So keen looking at products which can actually be built for the India 2, India 3, which Pramod also spoke about, and also from a B2B products which can help insurance companies to actually reduce the cost for offering or reduce the premium which they offer to the customers. And also, as Akash said about robo advisory, something which looks like a very prominent use case which someone can build on. So similarly, we're not restricting by telling you what you want to do. Just think out of box, because hackathons are supposed to not stop you, and innovation is something which we are looking at from this hackathon. The second theme, which is very important because Data Protection Act is already there, and we are expecting rules coming out of it. We want that companies or teams can build upon how financial data together can be financial data and alternate data can together help customer to get more personalized offer, better offers, and also can think of corporate use cases, maybe some use cases in terms of tax filing, in terms of your visa application, easing out the process for the customers. The end goal is to enable customer to use their personal data to access better services and foster user-centric digital economy. Since data is now readily available with the customer and he can share it on very easily, it is important that risk is managed across the whole value chain, starting from the customer to to the lender or financial institutes to the regulator also. We are keen looking forward towards the tools which can be given to to the regulators who can monitor the fair use of AI, or maybe internally the companies can build RegTech solutions who can actually internally see if there is no violation of any misuse of the customer data and customer privacy. Also, we are looking forward for people to build on fraud, who can build on EWS system, portfolio monitoring. So these are some innovation which people can come and build on. This is the format. The team can be from 1 to 5 or maybe more. Individuals can also apply and build the product. I would request everyone to join Telegram and WhatsApp platform so that you are much easily contactable and you can see what is happening. We have opened up few of the channel like subject matter experts. We'll have other sessions, ideations, and you can also, if you're looking for some teammates, you can find it via the groups. And the final submission which is required is your prototype, use case presentation, and 5-minute video, which will be expecting at the end of the hackathon. In terms of timelines, the registration is open till 20th October. Teams are required to submit their entries by 27th October. And after that, a panel of experts will evaluate and shortlist. There are 3 themes, so we'll shortlist 5 entries across all the 3 themes. And then these 5 teams will have to present in front of judges in the first week of November. And then the result is supposed to be get announced on 8th of November. And the selected teams, one from each team, will get a chance to present at Samvad and the Sahamati annual event, which is planned on 19th November. How judging will be done is, so there are three criteria which are common to all the three themes, which is feasibility and practicality, technicality, and user experience and design. We have thematic criteria, like for the first theme, which is on insurance and investment advisory, it is accessibility and inclusion. For the second theme, which is on data empowerment to the customer, which is focusing more on innovation and creativity, because you are thinking out of box here, and you have to maybe imagine, like, imagine that there is no boundaries of how the data can be used, and just come up with a creative ideas there. The third theme, which is on risk management, we are seeing that what is the impact on enterprises. If you can just these are the four major broad areas where you will evaluate your entries. Judges for each theme, there are 4 judges which comes from various background, like product, business, tech, and your VC funds. And I'm sharing you the list of who all are the judges. These are all industry veterans which have great experience and will be judging your entries. The panel discussion and master classes are planned throughout the first and second week majorly, and the focus is that we guide you towards more on the specifically towards the themes and what you can build, what are the problem areas, industry that can be solved, and also give you a glimpse of any broader ideas which these experts actually think that it is very necessary. If you are once you are there on the WhatsApp link, we will have SMEs. There is a channel which you can reach out to in case of any support required. I'll share you this PPT, and you can have a ready reckoner of reference links which you can use. When you go on Devfolio website and Sahamati website, you also find a Bible which have the whole A to Z of account aggregator. You can refer the links here also. And I've already shared the link for joining the sandbox, which is required, which is there in the chat. If you face any issue, you can feel free to reach out to us. So yeah, that was from the whole how the hackathon will play. Do let us know if there are any particular queries. We are happy to answer them. And also we are available on the chat where you can actually get the answers. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Abhishek. So with that, we formally launch the hackathon now. Please put your thinking caps on. Run wild. We have a lot of out-of-the-box questions that I can see. Abhishek, maybe y'all can join the WhatsApp group and ask questions over there. It will be much quicker, and probably you can ask multiple questions at one go. So, anything else, Abhishek, that we need to cover at this point in time?
No, nothing. I find from our side. I think we'll engage more on WhatsApp and Telegram.
Yeah. So our email ID is mentioned over here, info@sahamati.org.in. Please reach out to us, access our website. Of course, Devfolio website has all the information related to the hackathon, and so does Sahamati website. A big thank you from Team Sahamati, and we really look forward to this exciting phase of hackathon, and we really look forward to the entire process, not just the winning or the judging, but we look forward to the master classes, the panel discussions, the interactions going forward, and the entire process of bringing this to life. Best of luck, and see you all soon. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.